last night with YouTube viewership. You know, we're not letting the fight between Disney and YouTube impact us. No, sir. We're there, and we're free. And we're free over the air. We're free on our website, SportsTalkSC.com. We're free on X. No membership required. You don't have to check your credit card every month to see how much you're being ripped off. Not by us. We rip you off in other ways. Tonight, got a great show for you. Danny Cannell coming up in about 10 minutes or so. The former quarterback, now, of course, CBSSports.com and television analyst for football, a guy who knows a thing or two about the Clemson-Florida State rivalry from the early 90s. He had his success against the Tigers both at home and in Death Valley, so we'll be talking with him coming up. Also, we'll hear from Shane Beamer, who was on the SEC conference call today and announced that Mike Furry will be the play caller for the rest of the season. We'll talk about that. The wide receiver coach, former head coach at Limestone, former NFL wide receiver, now is going to be calling calls. Would it make any difference for South Carolina? I mean, it's not like the offense is just going to transform into something extra special because the play caller has changed. We'll have a Chalk Talk for you with Ellis and Chuck at 7:05. We'll get their thoughts on everything. 7:35, SC Wild tonight with Major Billy Downer, with things now darker on the outside earlier. Does that change things in the outdoors with the time change this past weekend? That is something I want to find out from the Major when he joins us at 7:35. So we got a great lineup for you tonight. We welcome back Chris Bergen to Sports Talk. He's been on the move with the Coastal Carolina basketball team up to Michigan and back, and now you're still in Conway tonight, I believe.
I can't leave, Phil. I am stuck in Conway. Not a bad way to live, but yes, I've been down here all day. Football press conference, chatted with Coach Beck as well for Saturday, their matchup with Georgia State, and then I got to talk to a young class of college students.
Boink. A young class of college students. We just lost you there, Bergie. I hate when that happens. Don't you hate when that happens? He was
Sports
just
in the media.
Oh, now you're back. We lost you there for about 25 seconds.
Oh, great. Well, anyway, what I was saying, I've been here in Conway all day, had football stuff earlier today, and then I spoke to a class here on campus in their new broadcast journalism department. It was a 400-level journalism class on sports in the media, and so obviously the kids were considerably smarter than I, but it was fun to chat with them, and they had really interesting questions about the future of sports and, even more importantly, future of the media covering sports.
You know, that's a very good topic because who knows what the future of the media is going to be. Let me ask you a question. Now, I am probably the only person who was really bothered by this because these things bother me. Because I know how things used to be when they were done right. I know how things used to be when decisions were made not based on money alone. They were made based on what's the best thing to do for the people involved. How do we show appreciation to the people involved? Those kind of decisions. And I'm not just picking on South Carolina here because I've seen this the last two nights. This is also somewhat at Clemson and maybe a lot of other places as well. It has to do with college basketball announcers and where they sit now when they call the games. I don't know if you're aware of this. At South Carolina, they sold the space where they used to have the table for the radio play-by-play announcers. They sold that space to boosters so they could sit their big butts down on a seat and put their feet on the black line. And, of course, have a better angle to yell at the officials about something they probably know nothing about because most of them are probably a little bit under the influence by the time they get down to their seats from their suites because they've been up there drinking for hours. We know that. We know that's the case. But anyway, and I'm not being this is not class envy. This is sticking up for my profession, which is broadcasting, and I look out for all broadcasters for what I think is best. So they've moved the play-by-play announcers now up into the press area at South Carolina, which, if you're not familiar, it's at the top of the bottom bowl of the arena, well back from the court, and in an area where you can't see the South Carolina bench. You can't see the South Carolina bench real well. You can stand up, maybe.
It's in the end zone, right?
It's in the corner of the end zone. It's not directly in the end zone. It's in the corner of the end zone. Now, I will say, It is a lower view than what you get at Little John Coliseum for the media, and at Little John Coliseum and for the Clemson broadcast. I know that they're not on the floor, but they're not way up in the stratosphere. They are at an area about the first level up, but they're also facing the benches. They can see both the visiting bench and the home bench because they're on the opposite side. And again, they're not that far up, but they are off the floor. So for you, how often are you on the floor? How often are you put somewhere up in the upper part of an arena as you travel around?
Well, thankfully, and let me knock on wood right now, here at Coastal, I am on the court for every home game, directly across from our bench, which is a perfect vantage point to watch basketball. At Western Michigan this past Monday night, I was on the floor directly across from the Coastal bench, and I was actually talking to somebody about that. Matter of fact, it may have been Smitty. We were chatting earlier today about this situation, and I was trying to run through my head. Most every team in the Sun Belt, with the exception of Texas State, and they're not going to be a problem for the Sun Belt after this year because they're moving on to the Pac whatever. They're the only ones that I can think of right off the bat that actually has their media row, or at least the radio broadcast teams, up on the concourse level on the second deck. So for the most part, at least at the mid-major level, we fortunately still get the opportunity to be where we should be, and that's on the floor.
So here's my question to you. I mean, you are – let me think for a second here, just off the top of my head. I mean, you're one of the longest-serving play-by-play announcers in this state between your work at Presbyterian and your work at Coastal Carolina. You've been doing it a long, long time. How important is it for in basketball? I know in football you're going to be upstairs, that's obviously. But for basketball, does it make a difference being on the floor versus being up in the corner of the end zone, let's say, or somewhere else in an elevated area away from the floor?
Absolutely it does, Phil, and I'll tell you why. And it's mostly not because it's easier to see the action, but it certainly gives you an opportunity to be sort of in the middle of the action. But the issue you run into, especially where they put Derek Scott and Casey Manning and Brad Muller, who does the women's games at USC, they have a hard time seeing the officials. And when they make a call, because now the officials have decided they're going to do the same thing that the NBA does, and they'll signal the fouls from anywhere on the floor, but they're always looking at the scorers table, which is directly beside the benches, and normally the media row is across the court to the other side. So even with me on the floor, it's sometimes difficult to ascertain whom they've called the foul on, especially now that we've gone to jersey number 6, 7, 8, 9, and of course 0. So you got the guys using two hands now trying to signify. So sometimes you just can't tell, but where they are now, nearly impossible. So yeah, you need to be on the floor to be able to do our job correctly.
Yeah. And what really bothers me personally, and I take it personally, though I'm not involved, I'm looking out for these guys, and they're not going to say anything because they have to work for South Carolina. I don't know how they feel. But between Brad Muller and Derek Scott, you've got about 30-plus years of devotion to South Carolina basketball. The good, the bad, the ugly, and this is how you treat them. And where's Learfield? Where's Learfield putting up some kind of a fight? I mean, don't you care about the quality of your broadcast? At least at your home arena? You can't do anything about it when you're on the road. You're going to go where they tell you. But at least at home, I mean, you basically sold the chair from out under these guys. And, I mean, I'm sorry. That's a very bad thing to do. It just shows me that you'll sell anything. I don't want to use bad language, so I'm not going to do it. But you know what I'm talking about when you come to selling everything that you've got to people just to get their money. And I'm tired of the excuse, well, you know, it's this age of sports now. We got to pay the athletes. We got to sell everything. We're going to start selling the toilet paper that people have to use as well. I mean, you're going to sell it by the sheet. Anyway, we got to go to the break because we're going to get Danny Cannell on. But I just wanted to touch on that because, I mean, for me personally, and I'm not a play-by-play guy, but I'm a broadcaster, and I look out for things related to broadcasting that I see that I think are offensive, and to me that's offensive. And it's offensive what Clemson has done too. Don Munson, Tim Beret deserve to be on the floor with the best view possible. But in their defense, I will say they're not off. They're not in such a bad spot as I think they've put the South Carolina people in. That's just my opinion as an observer. We're going to hit the break, and Danny Cannell's going to join us. We're going to talk about Clemson and Florida State and the first ranking of the College Football Playoff Committee and the Gamecocks. So we got all that coming your way. And we look forward to bringing it to you here tonight on Sports Talk, plus a little bit of recruiting and some other news notes. And looking forward to having Chuck and Ellis with us as well, because I'm sure they'll have plenty to talk about too. Okay, we'll hit the break. Danny Cannell coming up.
It might be tough to picture your kid in college today, but it'll be here before you know it. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan, makes it easy to start saving right now. You can start with any amount. Savings grow tax-free, and friends and family can chip in too. Discover the smart, easy way to save today at futurescholar.com. That's futurescholar.com. That's futurescholar.com.
In Columbia, South Carolina, game days are our specialty. Whether you're watching the game from inside the stadium or from the big screen at your favorite local spot, the energy remains the same. Craft the perfect fall Saturday in a city where there is plenty of action on and off the field. From tubing and kayaking to Soda City to rooftop restaurants and plenty barbecue. We're ready when you are. Plan your weekend at experiencecolumbiasc.com.
Hi, this is Major Billy Downer, and coming up tonight at 7:30, it's another edition of SC Wow from the Department of Natural Resources on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Your home is where your memories live. It's where you laugh and where you love. We understand the importance of the valuables under your roof, tangible and intangible alike. So no matter what's around the corner, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for nearly 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise. Learn more at scfbins.com.
Call me, Alex Satterfield, at 803-749-9171 for all of your Midlands insurance needs.
Traveling can be the worst, especially when you can't find your favorite show. Well, don't worry. We've got the perfect way to keep up with everything happening in the Palmetto State when you're away from home. Just pull up the Chief Sports app on your mobile device, and you can listen live to Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network.
So the next time you can't find us on one of our great radio affiliates, just log on to the Chief Sports app, the best way to stay connected with the Sports Talk Media Network.
Hi, I'm attorney Jim Corbett. For over 35 years, I've been making claims, litigating cases, and mediating cases. Quick checks from a car wreck are usually lowball offers. What happens 5 or more years from now when you didn't get the treatment or compensation you needed? Call me, Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968, or jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. Corbett with an E, and the initial consultation is free. Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
And I didn't stop there, I swear. From the time I wake up to the time I lay down, it's the devil's playground everywhere that I look. Swear it's there in my blood. I was born to be lost. Lot of lines that I crossed, little more than.
Okay, back with you on Sports Talk here on the Sports Talk Media Network. Phil Kornblut along with Chris Bergen. Clemson and Florida State coming up Saturday. Couldn't think of a better person to bring on board to talk to us about that game and other things in college football than Danny Cannell, who's been with us before. And Danny's coming to us courtesy of Bet Online. And Danny, of course, can talk to us about everything going into Week 11. Of course, the Heisman odds and some Week 11 lines. And also, of course, this Clemson-Florida State game, which is first and foremost on our minds tonight. Welcome in, Danny. Great to have you with us again. How are you?
Gentlemen, how are we doing? It's great to be on with you again. You know, I wish we were talking about this game for playoff implications. I wish we were talking about this for Heisman implications. Unfortunately, I feel like this game has more with like coaching hot seat implications, which is not what any of us expected coming into the season. So It's just amazing how fast things can change in college football.
No question. And the question is, how could so many be so wrong about so much going into the season?
Yes. I think it's harder than ever to really predict college football because of a few different things. I mean, one, I think there's more parity than there's ever been. So, like, it used to be if Clemson was a heavy favorite to win the ACC or Florida State was a heavy favorite to win the ACC, you kind of had a pretty good beat for their rosters, but you also knew everybody else had, pretty significant talent deficit. So, sure, if things came off the rails, Florida State or Clemson might be 10-2 as opposed to 12-0. But now you've seen with the revenue share and the transfer portal, everyone's roster is improved. Like, and I think Wake Forest is a great example, or a team like Pitt, or, just look across at SMU. With the revenue share now, everyone is able to spend a similar amount of money to field a roster where that wasn't always the case. Like, you would be able to recruit the best players to Clemson or Florida State or Miami because you had the best facilities and you had great, tradition, or you had championships that you were competing for. Now it is about money, so you can't really hoard the talent the way you used to be able to do, and I think that's a big reason why that talent gap has been diminished, and you're seeing a lot more teams competitively. The only thing that bothers me is I think what I'm describing is in the ACC, but I also think it's in the SEC and the Big 12 and the Big 10, and yet people look at the ACC and they're like, oh, well, this conference seems like it's down. I don't think it's down. I think it's way more competitive, just like every other Power 4 conference.
Which, I mean, in the big picture, if you actually believed in the big picture, it's like, Dabo Swinney said yesterday at his press conference, the NFL, they want everybody to be 8-8, 9-7. They want that sort of 500 look across the board, and that gives everybody hope every week about making the playoffs. And, I mean, if it should be good across the country for college football that different people in different years, different programs, because of the procurement of talent through the portal, they can turn things around in a hurry if they get the right people. And like a Vanderbilt, like a Georgia Tech, like an Indiana, all of a sudden they're having a special year. They've got a chance to make the playoffs.
And I do think that is a good thing. Like, I do think that we're in November, and while Florida State and Clemson may not be in the playoff race, just look at the top of the ACC and how many teams are still alive, going all the way down to Duke, who is, 5-3, and yet they're still alive in the ACC playoff race, so therefore their playoff hopes are still alive. Like, as opposed to, before the portal and when we had a 4-team playoff, you'd only have probably 10 to 15, maybe on the high side, 15 teams that really felt like they legitimately had a chance to make the playoffs. I think we're still at like 25 to 30 teams that still feel like they have an outside chance to make the playoffs. I mean, even if you just look at the top 25 rankings, there's a bunch of teams stacked up in there in the 20s at Iowa, USC, Michigan, even probably Tennessee. I don't think they have a chance, but like there's teams throughout the top 25 that have a chance. And I think that is good to broaden that, because I do think it wasn't great that you'd see Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, Clemson at points when it was just like, oh, here we go, the same 4 teams. So I do think the parity has done a lot for the sport, and the ratings would bear that out. I mean, more people are watching college football than ever before, so I think it's good. But I think the problem that's there is that I do think fans have to recalibrate the way they view their programs. And I think this goes for Clemson probably specifically, but even programs like at LSU, where they were used to, oh my goodness, like we should be 10-2 at worst case. They're 5-3, and they decided to fire Brian Kelly because they're 5-3. And yet, like that, if they finish the season and they're 8-4, that's a pretty darn good season at a lot of programs. If they're 9-3, that's a great season. Now, if you're 10-2, you're playoff caliber. I just think it's going to take a lot of fan bases time to recalibrate what a good, successful season is.
Mm-hmm.
Danny Cannell of CBS Sports with us here tonight on Sports Talk. And Danny, sort of a two-part question. I'm sure you saw Dabo Swinney's post-game comments after the Duke contest and just absolutely went scorched earth on ACC officiating. First off, do you think he was right in terms of the call at the end of the game that presumably cost Clemson the win? And secondly, is he right, because I agree with him on this point, that officials should be held accountable and maybe made available to the media after questionable ball games like we saw on Saturday?
Yes, and yes. I do thought it was a call that cost Clemson the game potentially, and I also look at it as well as the overall big picture conversation that there does need to be something needs to be addressed, and it's not just the ACC. I mean, the ACC historically has had some rough officiating, but go look at the SEC this year, where Auburn, who just had their coach fired, had several games where there was an egregious officiating call that cost them the game. And we had the fiasco with Kirby Smart, where he said he was calling, he wasn't calling a timeout, but he was. So, there has been a lot all across college football. And I saw a number the other day that I thought was pretty astounding. And this is where I think Dabo makes the most sense, where he said we need to hold these officials accountable, but we also need to make them full-time, because we are asking a lot from the officials, whom almost all of them have other full-time jobs that they do. I mean, I've actually flown next to them on airplanes or talked to them before games, and you'll talk to some guys are in real estate, some guys are an attorney, some guy might sell insurance. They've got other jobs, so it is really hard for them to hone their craft and put in the time that is necessary to get better, like officiating practices throughout the week. And the reason why they have to have other jobs is because they only make $37,000 a year. That's pretty egregious when you think of now, not only the coaches making millions, the players are making millions, everyone's making millions. There's millions being wagered on these games, and we've got guys out there at part-time jobs out there trying to officiate these games. It is a massive problem that I think more people like Dabo need to bring to the attention of the conference commissioners to have a better system in place where, one, you invest more in it by hiring guys that are full-time, and there needs to be some sort of development, because I don't know when the last time you guys met anybody that was a young kid, maybe 18, maybe 23, 24, and they said, yeah, I want to be a referee. You know why? Because there's no reward in it, right? There's just, who wants to be a referee? Because you got to coach a high school game for $100 to start off. Then if you're lucky, who knows what you make calling an FCS game. There just has to be a better system in place to develop referees to get more consistent calls.
I got a little over a minute because we got to let you go, but your thoughts on your trip to Clemson. Well, you were a starter your last 2 years at Florida State, and so you played at Clemson. I know you beat Clemson the 2 years as a starter. What do you remember about your time in Death Valley?
Oh, I remember it being a way more physical game than I thought it was going to be. I'll tell you, my most fond memory of my game against Clemson, my freshman year, I was not starting. Charlie Ward was the starter, and I was in way over my head. I was supposed to redshirt, and we had a couple injuries, so all of a sudden I'm back up, and I'm one play away, and it was a night game, and there were 80,000 strong, and they were going nuts, and Charlie Ward had a couple interceptions, and we're losing in the third quarter. And all of a sudden, Mark Richt is my offensive coordinator. He's like, get warmed up. I almost did a double take. I was like, what do you mean get warmed up? I'm not ready to go in this game. So I go into the game, and I hand off twice, and we all of a sudden rattle off an 8-yard gain and a 12-yard gain. And so all of a sudden we're gaining some momentum. And I look over, and all of a sudden Charlie's coming to get me off the field again. He's subbing out for me. I was like, what the heck? I'm coming out already? And so Charlie comes back, and the reason he came back in is they wanted to run a throwback to the quarterback, which was successful. Charlie won that game, and the rest is history, but that game was phenomenal.
Great memory. Hey, thank you so much for being with us. Great talking to you. We'll do it again.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Danny Cannell, courtesy of Bet Online. And we appreciate them providing him to us, and we'll be back.
On
On Point weather on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Another clear and cool evening with a low temperature dropping to 48. Tomorrow we are beautiful yet again. Sunshine all day long, the high is 73. We will stay nice on Friday, 74 the high. For the weekend, look for a blend of sun and clouds. The high temperatures in the middle 70s and a 20% chance we get some afternoon rain. By the way, much cooler next week. Highs in the 50s and 60s. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
If you've never had genuine Wagyu or here for steaks and burgers, you don't know what you're missing. Time to order the best of the best from HandJCattle.com. These are local farmers in Saluda where tradition meets quality. The best quality beef and a discount for Point listeners. Enter keyword The Point as one word and get 10% off, plus free delivery in Lexington and Richland County orders of $50 or more. It's cooked in season over at HandJCattle.com.
The Point. The Point.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The FAA announced Wednesday it'll reduce air traffic by 10% across 40 high-volume markets beginning Friday morning to maintain safety during the ongoing government shutdown. The agency is confronting staffing shortages caused by air traffic controllers who are working unpaid, with some calling out of work during the shutdown, resulting in delays across the country. President Trump lashed out at Senate Republicans to end the government shutdown, now the longest ever at 36 days. He blamed the record-breaking impasse on Wednesday for the party's defeat in the closely watched elections, and he repeated his demands for Republicans to end the Senate filibuster as a way to reopen the government, though Senate GOP leader John Thune says that's not happening. More details at srnnews.com.
Lots of plumbing companies out there. Few are truly local. Time to discover the difference with Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning. See, when I faced plumbing woes at the Cohen home, Josh and his dedicated team, well, they were my go-to solution. They make a commitment to exceptional service. They arrived on time, clearly detailed all the costs and procedures, and efficiently handled all my repairs without any surprises. These days, how often do we complain about a lack of customer service out there? With Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning, these folks are professional. They're courteous. They're skilled at what they do, and they've earned my trust, and they've earned my recommendation to you. From urgent repairs to the tankless water heater you've always wanted, they've got you covered. Visit FranklinPlumbingSC.com or call 799-2222. That's 799-2222. Hey, you tell them Kev sent you from The Point. I'm pretty sure you'll want to thank me later.
November is Veterans Month at Palmetto State Armory. For the entire month of November, veterans, first responders, and active military personnel will receive 10% off of all purchases. Also, in honor of Veterans Month, proceeds from range time purchases will be donated to Operation Patriot's Fob to support their mission of helping veterans and first responders connect through outdoor and recreational activities. Palmetto State Armory, American made for life.
When your temperatures swing, your comfort shouldn't. At Sweet Comfort Services, we make sure your system's ready for anything. Get our $99 preventative maintenance, a full inspection and tune-up that keeps your equipment efficient, reliable, and safe. Thinking it's time for an upgrade? We offer estimates on new Goodman and American Standard systems. You'll get honest advice, fair pricing, and expert installation. No gimmicks, no surprises. Call 803-331-8143 or visit sweetcomfortservices.com to schedule today.
This fall, discover a place where friendly faces greet you at the door. McCoy's Hardware of Lexington, Greg Lynette, and their welcoming team make every visit a breeze with expert advice and genuine hometown care. No more endless aisles or big box blues, just quality products and people who want to know your name. For every project, big or small, find what you need and a neighborly smile at 2028 Augusta Highway. Shop local. Shop happy. McCoy's Hardware of Lexington.
If you're feeling the weight of the world, how about visiting Spa MD in West Columbia? Marcy and her team can provide that perfect massage for individuals or even a couple. Lainey's been several times. She comes home completely revitalized. For a gift, if you're in the doghouse, or just because you love her, check out their options at visitspamd.com or call 251-9400. Leave your stress behind because you know what? You deserve this getaway. Spa MD, 251-9400.
All right, we thank Danny Cannell for being with us here on Sports Talk. Coming up, we're going to hear from Shane Beamer, recruiting. We got Chalk Talk after the top of the hour, SC Wild, bottom of the hour. You want to get a text message into us, we can probably hit a few of those up. Text message line tonight, as always, 803-900-4847, 803-900-4847. So South Carolina football, let's talk about that. Last night, of course, Bergie, you weren't with us. Last night I talked about for Clemson, could get worse before it gets better because, the Tigers could definitely lose to Florida State. Haven't formulated my pick there yet because remember last week I correctly picked Duke to beat Clemson straight up. And I'm thinking, right now the Tigers are just so disappointing. But Florida State's been disappointing. But they're coming off a win with some momentum. But it's a night game at Clemson. I think that makes a difference. They'll play better at night than they did at noon the other day. I'll get back to that later. But I was pointing out they're going to have to open the season at LSU next year. So, it could get off to a rough start for them next year. Of course, you don't know what the team's going to be next year. Exactly. South Carolina could be in a similar boat, of course. The Gamecocks, it will take a minor miracle for them to beat Texas A&M. If they beat Texas A&M, they've got a chance to run the table and finish with 6 wins and get to a bowl miraculously. But I don't see that happening. I don't see them beating Texas A&M. I don't know what they can do with this offense. The other thing you got to think about in the future is what is South Carolina going to have returning, because I'm not going to be surprised. I'm thinking Dylan Stewart's going to hit the portal. I'm thinking Thompson, the left tackle, is going to hit the portal. Many of those other offensive linemen aren't going to come back. Maybe shouldn't be brought back. Maybe they're out of eligibility. I'm thinking Nick Harbor might hit the portal as well. So could A, they can't be real happy with the way things are going, and B, the bidding for these guys is probably already taking place. Deals are probably already being thrown at them, and with all the change and everything else going on, why wouldn't you leave? I don't think the loyalty factor is in play any longer for any kids. I really don't. I don't think that's a big.
No, I would agree with that.
I don't think that's in play. And then there's Lenore Sellers. What's he going to do? And what does South Carolina do? Do you throw a huge amount of money? Do you throw another big amount of money at a guy who had a terrible season, who had a disappointing season? Do you invest that kind of money in him, or do you take that money and go buy some better offensive linemen and hope that with your new offensive coordinator you can take a guy like Lane Kiffin did at Ole Miss, who was a Division III guy, Division II guy? Came from the lower levels, and he's got talent, and he's got a good offensive line, and he's got weapons around him, and off they went. They're probably not paying that quarterback a whole heck of a lot of money. Now, he may get a big boost for next year if he comes back. So what do? You can't, if you're Lenore Sellers, you can't expect a raise. Really you can't.
No.
And I wonder now if somebody else is going to throw a bunch of money at him because they think they can take him and put him in a new environment, put him in the right offense, and he certainly should not be considering going to the NFL. Anybody who says he's the first pick in the NFL draft is just fooling themselves, I think.
Well, they didn't watch the Ole Miss game because he missed throws that, I've seen high school kids, star high school quarterbacks make.
Mm-hmm.
That was as bad a game as I've seen Lenore Sellers play since he became the full-time starter. He had an opportunity to make some big plays. Now, I'm not counting the throw to Harbor on the first series that Harbor should have called. Can't believe he dropped that ball. It was right in his hands.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the throws that Lenore's made, and I don't know if part of it is in the back of his mind, he's, that old saying about seeing ghosts, and he's concerned about their pass rush. But I thought for the most part, the offensive line did an okay job against Ole Miss, and Sellers either got out of the pocket too soon or had opportunities, just didn't make them down the field. I was disappointed in his effort against the Rebels for sure.
All right, let's go to Shane Beamer, who was on the SEC conference call today. We haven't heard from Beamer this week since since the conference call on Sunday, since he didn't have a presser yesterday. So here he is, SEC conference call, and I think we picked this up. I'm never correct on these things. I think we picked this up with his opening comments, and then we go into questions from the media.
I had 2 really good days of practice this week already, and got the opportunity to go out on the road and do some recruiting here the rest of the week, which I personally am looking forward to doing, and then getting back in here next week. And we have another big challenge with A&M. I mean, anybody that needs a scouting report on the top 6 teams in the college football playoff rankings, call me, because we've played them all and played 3 of them, and we get another opportunity to go compete next week, and that's what our guys are excited about doing.
You just wanted to see if you could share an update on your plans for OC for the rest of the season and where things are at with all that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say we have a OC for the rest of the season. We have a really talented offensive staff that each and every week, as we always do, the offensive staff will work together, which they've been doing, to put together the game plan. And then on game day, the primary play caller will be Mike Furley. But like I said, the plan and what we're calling, that's put together during the week. He will just be the main guy that's talking to the quarterback and communicating the play to him on game day.
And what do you feel like Mike adds from that standpoint? I believe he was calling plays during his last couple of seasons at Limestone.
Yeah, experience, high energy, got a great confidence about himself. Certainly the offense feels his energy. And then the other thing is just the experience that he has. He's played in the NFL. He's coached in the NFL. He has been a head coach in college. He has called plays in college. And that's the main thing, just understanding of offense, understanding of our run game and pass game, along with our other coaches. Nothing against him at all. Just Mike's the guy that he has called plays in a game before previously.
I almost feel like you should be a glorified committee member with what you've gone through. Tell me about this gauntlet in particular and how tight the margins are this year and the teams that you've seen in conference play this year, Coach.
Yeah, I mean, that's life in the SEC. And as I said before, Steve, if you don't want it, then or you don't like that competition, you're in the wrong conference. Basically, the entire top 25 is SEC teams. 3 of the top 6, I believe, are SEC teams, and we have shown our record is not what we want it to be, but we've shown that we can go toe to toe with the best teams in the league. And in every game in this conference, it comes down to the fourth quarter. It's like the NFL, and no other conference can say that. So our record, the SEC versus non-conference Power 4 teams, and it's not even close compared to other leagues. It's just it's the best league in football. It's the best players, the best teams. It's like the NFL, and that every game comes down to the fourth quarter. You look at the margin of victory, and every game that's played every weekend, it's close. And there's no surprises. There's no looking at the scores on Saturday night after the day and being shocked by a score. It's just every Saturday, anybody can beat anybody, and the teams that execute and play the best in the fourth quarter, make the plays, are the ones that will win. And we, as a team, just haven't done a good enough job of making those plays in the fourth quarter. But pretty much every game we've had, we've gone into it in the fourth quarter. It's a 1-score game the other night at Ole Miss. It's a 1-score game against LSU. We're leading against Missouri and Alabama. We just got to do a better job of finishing.
You mentioned these 1-score games, and certainly South Carolina and Mississippi State, 2 teams that you look at and say, man, things could be a lot different if not for 1 or 2 plays. Not that you need that reminder, but I want to ask you, how do you keep your team as engaged as you have? We've seen South Carolina. Obviously, last year you guys were in the thick of the playoff race with that streak, but even in years before that, when it appeared you were eliminated, we've seen South Carolina rise to the occasion and win some really big games. Now that everything's so CFP-centric, how do you go about keeping the players so engaged where your teams have been able to rise to those challenges?
It's a handful of things. It's one, the culture in our program is strong. The core in our program is strong. We're not where we want to be right now from a record standpoint. And it's a small margin for error, and we've been on the other side of it too many times this year, but we've got great people in our program, players, coaches, staff. no one can question the effort. The culture is strong, and competition is a core value of our program. And our guys love to compete. As gut wrenching as some of these losses have been on Saturday, I know that every week when we come right back to practice, I'm not going to have to motivate guys to go practice and compete and try and get better. They're a great group of guys that love being around one another, love competing. And I, as the head coach, have just got to continue to do a better job of helping them get over the hump. But we're not far off. And again, we're 3-6, and nobody wants to hear that. But we've had opportunities to win these games, and we haven't gotten over the hump. But we're a young team that's taking some lumps right now, but we're in a little bit of a storm. But I believe there's great growth in these storms, and I see the growth happening, and couldn't be more excited about these next 3 games, and couldn't be more excited about what this will lead to in 2026.
It appears that there's kind of a immediate quick change philosophy. We've seen that with head coaching changes mid-season that are unprecedented. You read, social media channels and everybody wants this position coach or this changed. But what about the value of continuity right now versus making those changes? Because how do you evaluate that? Because I don't hear a lot of people talking about that. And yet when I look at some of the more stable programs, continuity seems to be a common thread.
Well, I think you look at, the best teams, they've got continuity, and you realize there's a big picture. And I can't speak for athletic directors and people making the decision, but, I just look at continuity, and if you're doing things the right way, you're right. I mean, everything right now is college football playoff or bust. And it's like, if you don't make the playoffs, people are ready to, fire everybody. And I get that. That's what we've created. I know Dabo or somebody was making a comment about that a couple days ago. And that every year, I think Coach Sarkisian said it the other day, like, not every team is going to make the college football playoff every single season. And it can't be college football playoff or bust. But all that with my dad, Mike, at Virginia Tech. I mean, he's the all-time winningest coach at Virginia Tech, and he's got a statue outside the stadium. And it was his 7th year of coaching at Virginia Tech before they even went to a bowl game. So he had 6 straight years of no bowl game, and Virginia Tech stayed the course. Now, that's a different time. No coach in their right mind, or no athletic director is going to keep a coach around for 6 seasons without progress. But, when you're people are looking at it, you're doing the right things, you're making progress, you're recruiting well, you guys are going to class, the culture's strong. You continue, sometimes I think my dad used to say it, stay the course, and continuity is always a good thing. So, each situation is different. I can't comment on all the different situations in the league in regards to coaching changes, but, I know this. I've got an awesome athletic director here in Jeremiah Donati, an awesome president, Michael Enriquez. They've been fantastic, and see where we are, and they see where we're going, which excites me too.
There you go, Shane Beamer off the SEC conference call today. So that's it for the Gamecocks for this week. They'll be getting a break, coming back together on the weekend, then looking forward to going to Texas A&M. I would imagine, barring anything unusual happening to Texas A&M this weekend, Gamecocks will probably be at least a 2-touchdown underdog for that game out at College Station, I would think. Then again, that might be cool. You take those points because they do tend to play them relatively close for at least 3 quarters. We'll be right back.
You were always more than my mom. You were my role model, my best friend, and biggest supporter. You filled my days with unconditional love, and you also prepared for the day when you couldn't be here. Because of the woman you were back then, I'm able to be the woman I am now. Your planning made this moment possible.
Set your family up for life. Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance. Your friends for life.
Life insurance isn't for you. It's for those you love the most. For a complete insurance review, call Buddy Bridges in Lawrence County at 864-923-2174, serving Lawrence, Clinton, and the shores of Lake Greenwood.
Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi. Not licensed to do business in all 50 states.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hosseller Brown. Did you know Lawyer Lisa offers a prevention plan add-on to our services? If you already have a trust or just need some updates, ask about getting your ducks in a row and getting all of your wishes set out before it's needed. Visit lawyerlisa.com for more information.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience
the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
South Carolina's taste buds have spoken, and they're asking for beef. There are more than 7,800 farms raising cattle from pasture to plate in the Palmetto State. So whether it's steaks on the grill before the big game, sirloin medallions plated for date night, or burgers with a family, make sure beef is a part of your playbook this football season. Smoked, grilled, and slow roasted. Find the best way to enjoy your beef at sccattle.org. Beef. It's what's for dinner in South Carolina. Funded by the South Carolina Beef Council, part of the Beef Checkoff Program.
Hi, this is Major Billy Downer, and coming up tonight at 7:30, it's another edition of SC Wow from the Department of Natural Resources on the Sports Talk Media Network.
When South Carolina's best high school football players take the field at the Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl, they're backed by a powerful team of their own. As proud title sponsors, your local co-ops celebrate more than just a game. It's a tradition where talent shines, where teamwork matters, and where community spirit takes center stage. Don't miss the 78th Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl, December 13th at Doug Shaw Memorial Stadium in Myrtle Beach, powered by your electric cooperative.
Hi, Phil Kornblut here with our good friend George Bryan III, heard every Friday night on Birdies, Bogeys, and Biceps right here on Sports Talk. George, the Tsunami Bar, a very valuable tool for golfers. Why is that?
Well, the first thing that I say is the tempo. It's the only tool out there that allows the study of tension right from the first grab to be expressed, and rhythm and tempo is what makes the bar work, and it gives you something awfully special to keep those hands soft and get that rhythm going.
Learn more about Tsunami Bar technology by clicking on the digital ad on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, and save 5% by purchasing online using the promo code BBB5.
The Sports Talk Recruiting Report is sponsored by Seawell's Catering.
All right, let's give you the recruiting report tonight, brought to you by Seawell's. Tomorrow's Thursday. They're closed as far as the daily luncheon buffet. Back at it on Friday. Big menu on Friday, so get over there for that from 11 till 2. Seawell's across from the State Fairgrounds. In fact, I was talking with someone today who wanted to go to Seawell's. Wasn't exactly sure of the location. Right across from the State Fairgrounds. If the Rocket's on your left, Seawell's is on the right. If the Rocket's on the right, Seawell's is on the left. That's our geography course for tonight. By the way, Plummer has signed up for his spring semester of classes at South Carolina. Did you sign up for that sex class that they... What is that? Human Sexuality 400 or something like that? Did you sign up? That's an easy A for some people.
Not sure what you're referring to, but I did sign up for the underwater basket weaving, finger painting 101, and there was some class on there's something about the legacy of Phil Kornblut, and I think it's.
Oh, that's a tough A. That'd be a tough A to get.
I don't think there's much
spring classes in November.
Well, and you'd be surprised. I have the early time ticket of most.
They want that money early. They want to get that money so they can stick it in the bank so they can, got to pay those athletes, man. Got to pay those athletes.
That's true.
I will be paying the $250 athletics fee again.
Oh, I'm sure you will. So for Seawell's, of course, they've got the very best catering business in the world, and you can take advantage of that. Don't feel like you can't reach out and touch them. Give them a call at 803-771-7385 and online at SeawellsCateringSC.com. So last night, about the time we signed off, maybe a little bit before, Clemson got a commitment in basketball from a young man we've been talking to and following and reporting about, 6'6" Amir James of Marietta, Georgia. So Clemson's got a couple of big guys for the backcourt coming in, 6'6" and 6'5". So Brad Brownell going big in the backcourt. And as he had told us, They like his playing style. They are a fit for him as a player. He likes to play defense. He's a good defensive player. Clemson assistant Sean Dixon's been following him for well over a year, though they didn't offer him until back in October after they saw how far he had come from a development standpoint. He averaged about 13 points per game last season. This is not a particularly heavily recruited individual. Evansville was an offer. Southern Indiana, College of Charleston, Charleston Southern, Alcorn State, Eastern Illinois. So this is a guy they think they can take and develop, which is good. Third commitment for the 26 class, which will be signed next week. Football, safety Zeke Marshall Curry of Rabun Gap, Georgia, committed to Coastal Carolina. He was once committed to Toledo. South Carolina target 2027 strong safety A.J. Randall was offered by Florida State. There you go, recruiting tonight here on Sports Talk. Be sure to check it out regularly on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, and on our X, which is SC Sports Now, SC Sports Now. Sign up and follow us at SC Sports Now, and search us using ST Recruiting. No hashtag, use ST Recruiting to search out our stories and our little recruiting notes and our little retweets and all that kind of stuff in recruiting. All right. We still have, let's go to Vern in Bishopville. Got some text messages as well. Hello, Vern. How are you?
I'm good. How's Dabo Sweeney doing?
Well, I saw him yesterday. I asked how he was doing, and he said, you know what? He's doing fine.
Well, he's still been cursing and going on like he was on TV and stuff. You could have hear him. I'm glad my little grand wasn't here because I had to turn the television off.
What'd you hear? What'd you hear?
He was out there cursing at his defensive player when Duke made that touchdown.
Yeah. Did he use foul language? Did he use foul language?
Yeah, he used foul language.
Okay.
Yeah, that bad kind too. But anyway, so if he got 3 balls, why he don't curse at them?
I'm sorry, say again?
Yeah, don't he have 3 sons? Don't Dabo Sweeney have 3 boys?
He does.
Yeah, but why he don't curse at them? Them other people kids he don't see me cursing at. You be good. I'll talk to you later, Kim.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. His boys, they aren't, I think one's a holder. I think the others have graduated, right? And one's a holder on the team, so they're not really back there playing defense. They're not the ones getting, being turned into Waffle House toast back in the safety position. So that's why he was yelling at his secondary, because they're Waffle House toast.
Can we go back to your exclusive interview a few months ago with Dabo?
Go right ahead.
Say we suck again. Tell everybody we suck.
I just thought that was important for this time of year.
That's perfect fit. And you know what? He could repeat that pretty much throughout the entire season, All right, from Tony, Gamecock Tony in Lancaster, he's picking Clemson over Florida State 31-21. He says Beamer will also fix things. He has too much passion for the university not to. Yeah, by the way, get your picks in for the Clemson-Florida State game. If you nail it exactly on the numbers, we'll treat you to lunch. You get to go to lunch with you get your choice. It could be me, it could be Bergie, or it could be the plumber. Though why you'd want to go with the plumber is beyond me. This is from the 803. Danny Cannell is 100% wrong about the NCAA needing full-time officials. The best league in the world doesn't have full-time officials. I don't think paying the NCAA officials more is the answer either. NFL officials make between $205 and $250 a season, and they make mistakes. Better training and meritorious advancement is the key to better officiating. I wonder if an official sent this to us. All right, we got Chalk Talk coming up.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The Supreme Court is considering President Trump's tariffs and $1 trillion challenge of his executive use of emergency powers.
Conservative justices on the Supreme Court sound skeptical of the legality of President Trump's sweeping unilateral tariffs in two cases where small businesses are challenging executive caveat. The plaintiffs say the president should not be using EPA, a 1977 emergency powers law, to regulate imports, and that the uncertainty is driving them to the brink of bankruptcy. The second case questions whether the statute unconstitutionally delegates authority from Congress to the president. The government argues that tariffs can be imposed in emergency situations and fall under foreign affairs.
Correspondent Jennifer King reporting. At a news conference, NTSB member Todd Inman describes the series of events during the UPS cargo plane crash in Louisville, Kentucky, saying there's evidence that one of the engines fell off.
A large plume of fire in the area of the left wing occurred during the takeoff roll. The plane lifted off and gained enough altitude to clear the fence at the end of runway 17R. Shortly after clearing that fence, it made impact with structures and the terrain off of the airport property. A post-impact fire ensued, which covers approximately almost a half of a mile.
At least 12 people were killed in the crash, including a child. The Federal Aviation Administration says it plans to reduce air traffic by 10% across 40 high-volume markets beginning Friday morning to maintain safety during the ongoing government shutdown. The reduction stands to impact thousands of flights nationwide. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 225 points, the Nasdaq rose 151. More at townhall.com.
For Progressive's collision coverage, my family gets up to $1,000 for vet bills if I'm injured in a car accident. And that makes this Chihuahua really feel like part of the family. What's that? I don't sound like a Chihuahua? Oh, I'm sorry. What exactly am I supposed to sound like? I guess all Chihuahuas are high-strung, riding around in expensive designer purses. Actually, I prefer riding in cars. So I appreciate that my family protects me with Progressive's pet collision coverage. Okay, maybe I am a little high-strung. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Coverage for dogs and cats is included with the purchase of collision coverage and is subject to policy terms.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife, and for 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, E-T-H-O-S, ethos.com/Mike.
Tesla shareholders will decide soon on whether Elon Musk could have a shot at becoming the world's first trillionaire. Bob Agnew reports.
Shareholders vote on Thursday whether to approve a pay package that could hand the world's richest man another $1 trillion in share value. The decision has become a flashpoint among Musk fans and detractors. Supporters say Musk is a miracle man who needs the money as a lure to focus on the company. Critics say the board that designed the package is too beholden to Musk and that the pay is excessive. Bob Agnew reporting.
The Trump administration has decided not to offer the IRS electronic tax filing system for free next year, and its future is unclear. An IRS official informed state comptrollers in an email Monday that IRS Direct File will not be available in filing season 2026. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said better alternatives exist. News and analysis at Town Hall.
On Point weather on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Another clear and cool evening with a low temperature dropping to 48. Tomorrow we are beautiful yet again. Sunshine all day long, the high is 73. We will stay nice on Friday, 74 the high. For the weekend, look for a blend of sun and clouds. The high temperatures in the middle 70s and a 20% chance we get some afternoon rain. By the way, much cooler next week. Highs in the 50s and 60s. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com. The Point.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, by the way, I just heard back from the individual who sent us that text message about the officiating, and he is indeed an official of over 50 years.
And a good one, too.
Yes. We won't identify him, but appreciate that. That was well thought out and understood on our end. All right, let's welcome in a couple of guys who I think some of their best friends are officials, guys that they probably share Christmas cards with to this day. They probably have blown-up dolls of officials at their respective homes that they hug from time to time because they loved officials back in the day. We're talking about two of the great football minds of all time, Chuck Reedy and Ellis Johnson.
Get ready for a deep dive into the X's and O's. This is Chalk Talk with coaches Chuck Reedy and Ellis Johnson on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, great to have them with us, Coach Chuck Reedy, Coach Ellis Johnson. Ellis, let's start with you. Had you been on the sideline and your corner drew a flag like Terrell did in that game against Duke for Clemson, what would your reaction have been?
Well, I had to watch the playback. I was one of the victims of this damn YouTube Disney thing. I'm sitting in the state of South Carolina, and I'm listening to Clemson's game and South Carolina's game on radio. So,
brutal.
I've looked at the stats. I've looked at the replays and all that. That call was ridiculous. And what I don't understand about these officiating problems that are going on now, I think they're caused because there's been a vacuum of officials. It dominoes. A bunch of them left the NFL recently, or they fired them, and they're pulling people up from the lower ranks. Plus, you got all these conference affiliations growing. You got to have more officials. Where you going to get them? You going to get them out of high school? You going to get them from another conference? You got people working on crews that have worked together. But the bottom line, what about the studio replays? I mean, I don't get this thing. There's been several things happen to several different teams this year. It's really, really pitiful.
By the way, Ellis, I got a phone call from the SEC after last week's show, and I have to remind you, this is live radio, so you must watch your tongue. This is not.
You hit it on the button. Those podcasts I do are killing me. It just turned me into just a raging corrupt. You know what?
Yeah. No, this is live radio.
Coach, what is wrong with listening to the games on radio?
Well, that's true.
Yeah. You try.
Well, if only Chris Bergen was doing the play-by-play. Coach Reedy, let's talk about Clemson first, and we'll get the Gamecocks after the break. So, offense good. Did a lot of nice things offensively. Klubnik had a nice day. Ran up 500 and something yards, et cetera, et cetera. So, what'd you think of the offensive play of the Tigers?
Well, I thought they had a great day. I mean, that's the best they played all year. Might have been as good as they played in the last couple of years. I mean, I thought Klubnik was really good. His decisions were really good. He was accurate. Even though he wasn't real mobile, I thought he did a great job. And they did something. I'd mentioned this several times, but they finally started rotating the tailbacks and got Gideon Davidson in the game. I think he had 12 carries, and Randall had 16, which is a good mix. And they had 175 yards rushing. Offensive line was much better. Antonio Williams had a great ball game. Finally got him involved. Running. Reverses and stuff and catching the ball. Great performance on offense. That certainly wasn't what cost them the game.
Yeah. Now Randall only carried the ball one time in the second half. Is that a negative?
Well, I didn't know that, but I mean he was 16 times in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But and again, they got the freshmen in, and which they needed to do, and split it up. I don't have any complaints with anything they did on offense. I mean, you get 560 yards and score 45 points, you're supposed to win the game.
Yeah. All right, Ellis. Defense at Clemson. Forget the last. Well, you can't forget that call, but I mean, just the defense. I don't know. I think Sweeney is very frustrated with the players, with his coaches. There could be a job for you there if you if you're still friendly with Dabo Sweeney. What's going on with this defense? How does this defense with that so-called talent play as poorly as they're playing now, game in and game out, after starting off the season looking like a pretty good Clemson defense?
Well, that's they've had some really good games this year. If you'd say overall, if any phase of the game has given them a chance to have had a better season this year, it would have been the defense. But they've had a couple of games. One was back game 3 or 4, I can't remember, where it got out of hand, and they've had this game. And again, I wasn't watching it. I'm listening to it. So I don't know what was happening. I just know it was happening. So, I mean, guys, they had 5 scoring drives, 9 plays with a few at 9 and 7, and the others were double-digit. When you're giving up double-digit drives to a team like Duke, who's not a great rushing team, they're just a good dynamic passing team.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Duke is a whole lot better on offense than they're on defense this year. Manny's a really good defensive coach, but they're not good on defense this year. So I wouldn't get too far ahead of my skis on everything's hunky-dory on the other side. But it really was surprising to me that they couldn't at least control Duke a little bit better. The Menzel kid from Duke is unbelievable. He's a really good player. I can see why they paid him what they did.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's unacceptable. And this is the 3rd week in a row. I think it's the 3rd week in a row. I know it's 3 critical games where the last drive turned into a double-digit number of plays and a long number of yards and a score.
Mm-hmm.
And it was all 3 of them were timed where the defense had a chance to shut the game off for them and get the game done. So I don't know what the problem is. It's just inconsistency. It's been that way on both sides of the ball. And they gave up a touchdown in the kicking game, too.
11 plays, 94 yards that last drive. You're right. They had a 9-play, 53-yard drive. I think it was their first possession of the game, so they went right down the field. Ellis, I got to believe the thing that really burned Sweeney the most was after Clemson scored with a minute to go in the half. And, you're feeling good now. You've just scored. You're going to have momentum going into the second half. And then Duke takes the football, and in less than a minute, they're in the end zone.
Yeah. 7 plays, but it didn't even take a minute. You're right. 7 plays and 75 yards. And the other series, were good. 2 plays, 3 plays, 3 plays, 4 plays. I think one of those short ones was a score early in the game, though. But I just don't know. I mean, they have not been real consistent in run fits this year. Linebackers fitting with the front and secondary, forcing where they should. There's been some times, and you understand with the first-year scheme and all that, and new coaches and so forth. But we're in week 9? How many games have we played? 8 or 9.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's no longer should be a problem. If it is, you need to just quit calling it. And then I guess the biggest thing I have not seen this year, I've not seen a dynamic pass rush without him having to bring a pressure type call and bring extra people.
Yeah.
The front's not able to do what I thought they could do this year.
Yeah.
Chuck and Ellis with us here tonight on Sports Talk on Chalk Talk. It's always presented by our friends over at Palmetto Sports Connections. And Coach Reedy, you talked about the play of Cade Klubnik. I saw somebody who made the assessment that maybe his ankle injury actually allowed him to play a little bit better in the passing game because it forced him to stay in the pocket. Did you see that, and is that a fair assessment of the way he played on Saturday?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, excuse me. He stayed in the pocket, but he made good decisions, and he got the ball out. He didn't hold the football. He got rid of it, and he just, like I said, he played very well, and probably as good as I've seen him play. So whatever the reason, he really played well.
All right, that's enough on Clemson. We're going to hit the break and come back and talk about South Carolina, see if we can I think if all Gamecock fans got together, we could convince Coach Reedy to take the offensive coordinator's job again. You don't have to recruit anymore. All you got to do is write checks, and you've done that before. I mean, everything's legal now. You don't have to sit in the bushes. You don't have to sit outside Herschel Walker's house at 3 a.m.
That's right.
All right, we're going to hit the break. We'll come back with more talk about the Gamecock side of things in just a moment.
Major Billy Downer here from the Department of Natural Resources, and DNR is excited to announce the implementation of Go Outdoors SC, a new online licensing and boat titling system that you can access right from your phone. Through this new system, customers can purchase their hunting and fishing licenses, renew their boats, apply for lottery hunt opportunities, and complete electronic harvest reporting requirements. For more information, visit Go Outdoors SC at your local app store.
You work hard for your money. Shouldn't your money work hard for you too? Think about all the hours you've put in, the late nights, the early mornings, the dedication to your craft. Now imagine those dollars doing some of the heavy lifting for a change, growing quietly in the background while you focus on what matters most. Whether you're saving for a dream vacation, a new home, or just building a cushion for peace of mind, putting your money to work is one of the smartest moves you can make. Open a certificate at Founders Federal Credit Union and earn more with your savings. For a limited time only, Founders is offering 18-month certificates at 4.32% annual percentage yield and 18-month IRA certificates at 4.58% annual percentage yield. To get started, visit foundersfcu.com/dividend rates or one of our many convenient office locations. All you need is $500 to get started, but don't delay. These rates won't last. Open your certificate today. Your future self will thank you for opening a certificate at Founders. Federally insured by the NCUA. Membership qualification required. $500 minimum balance. 18-month term. Dividends compound quarterly. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Hi, this is Major Billy Downer, and coming up tonight at 7:30, it's another edition of SC Wow from the Department of Natural Resources on the Sports Talk Media Network.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot. And the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
Every lottery ticket purchase keeps education in our state moving forward. In fact, the lottery has raised more than $200 million for state school buses to get our students to school safely every day. Then, the lottery helps those students go even further in their education by funding the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow Scholarships. So remember, when you play the lottery, you're keeping South Carolina students on the road to success. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Straight Up Sports is simply all sports, all the time. Straight Up Sports is a collection of retired and award-winning sports writers and sports broadcasters from around South Carolina. Like Bob Gillespie from the State Newspaper, Scott Kiefer from the Greenville News, and Mark Sturgis from ESPN Upstate. Straight Up Sports is about the stories, just like the days gone by with no editors nor managers involved. Check us out on Facebook or Twitter or online at straightupsports.net.
We are back. It is time for more of Chalk Talk here on Sports Talk with Coach Chuck Reedy and Coach Ellis Johnson, presented by the Palmetto Sports Connections, where they strive to inform and enlighten you, the sports fan of South Carolina, with the ways the state of South Carolina has been a part of the moments in great sports history through its people, places, schools, and teams. All right. In fact, 3 products of our state, Ray Allen, Josh Powell, Eldon Campbell, with the NBA now underway, they all played in back-to-back NBA finals within the past 20 years. Okay, so seriously, Chuck, how much money would it take for you to take that job at South Carolina? Just asking.
I'd take it for about half of what they were paying Shula.
No, is that right? Come back cheap,
Yeah.
huh? So where do you think they go? Where do you think they have to go? Where do you think they can go with this hire?
Well, I tell you what, they're going to have a hard time. First of all, I think this firing coaches during the season is a real poor reflection on Coach Beamer, and they'll have a hard time getting a real top-notch coordinator because he's going to be going into next year on the hot seat, and with probably a 1 year if they don't really turn it around. And so if you're a really good coordinator, you're going to have a lot of options, and you're not going to come somewhere where the head coach is in a 1 year situation.
Yeah. What did you see from the offense in that Ole Miss game?
Well, I mean, it's the same thing we've seen all year. They can't run the football. Lenore Sellers, he's not accurate when he does have time to throw the football, and then he holds the ball and takes sacks. I mean, half the sacks he's had this year have been on him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the offensive line's not very good, but he holds the ball. And and again, like I said, when he had protection, he wasn't accurate throwing the football. So when you can't run and you're not accurate throwing, it's not a very good combination.
So what does a head coach hope to get? And I guess you probably, obviously, you never fired a coach in season. What does a coach hope to get by doing that? He's fired 2. He's fired his offensive line coach, and he's fired his offensive. What does he hope to get?
I think it's ridiculous, and like I said, I think it's a real poor reflection on him. The most important thing that a head coach does is hire a staff, and from personal experience, I can tell you that I did a poor job, and it cost me my job.
Mm-hmm.
And but when you've got a guy, the offensive line coach had been there for 1 or 2 years, he got a raise last year, and Shula had been there for a year. And you hire these guys, and you pay this guy $1.1 million or whatever, and then halfway through the season you're going to fire them. I mean, and let me tell you, there's ways to do things. If you're not happy with a guy, you can say, what, I'm gonna come in the offensive meetings, and I'm gonna have input in what we do. And if Shane's on the headset, he hears every call. So if he doesn't like the calls or he doesn't like what Mike Shula's doing, he could have done something about it. But you don't fire a guy in the middle of the year. I mean, I think it's absolutely ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Ellis, your thoughts on what happened there at South Carolina on the offensive side with the firing of Mike Shula?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to comment on this last thing, like I said, it's on the radio, but it sounds like there's a lot of overthrows and these type things. I think it's a pretty bold move because, I mean, who's coaching Lenore's? Mike. And who did they say gave him a lot of helpful instruction last year as an analyst? Mike. So I was kind of puzzled by it. I don't know about the play selection and all that. Chuck can speak to all that. I just agree with most every word Chuck said. You hired him, and you know what he's doing before you go into the game, and you're listening to it during the game, and if you don't like it, you got to change it or whatever. I just don't know. I've seen staffs that had mid-year firings where the head coach was fired, and the guy takes over, tries to keep everybody. After 2 weeks, it ain't working. Then he makes changes. You can sort of understand that. There's a loyalty factor there. Maybe a new staff comes in, and the guy agrees to keep some coaches to get the job, which is not a smart thing to do. And then you start making changes. You can almost see that too. But when you hire them and you pick them and you're right there when it's happening, I don't understand it. But hell, I ain't in that situation, and he's got to make those calls.
The guy who is probably now working directly with Lenore's is Davis Cutter, who came to the staff in January as the assistant quarterbacks coach. So I'm assuming he's taking over the job as the full-time quarterbacks coach. and he was on Sarkisian's staff at Texas as a GA working with the quarterbacks. So of course, he's the son of a former NFL quarterback and head coach. So he's got plenty of experience there, but he is young, and so you just kind of wonder how that is going to work out here moving forward, Chuck. And, I mean, you know how the fans are. Okay, we got rid of the 2 bad people on our staff now, so this should really turn things around, and we should come out against Texas A&M and put 40 points on the board.
Yeah, let's see how that works for you. No, I don't. It looks to me like you're just trying to place blame and try to divert away from what's just been a really bad situation and a bad season. And again, I just he hired them. He had worked with them for at least 1 year, and then all of a sudden they can't coach. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. And and obviously there was a lot of fan reaction about Mike Shula. Fire Mike Shula. But you can't. You have to tune that out. You can't listen to that. And it just seems like a knee-jerk reaction to me.
I don't think he does tune it out, to be honest with you. I mean, he is a head coach who is attuned to everything that's written on the internet. I mean, he comments to reporters. He applauds good things he reads, and he criticizes things he doesn't like that he reads. He is definitely in tune with what's going on. I don't know if he spends time reading the message boards and he gets influenced by the fans. And, they had that little silly march on campus of some students. Does that kind of stuff come into play? I would certainly hope not. Ellis, the defense, the thing about the defense, I mean, South Carolina's in these games until the fourth quarter. Is the defense just getting worn down by the time they get to the fourth quarter?
I think there's some of that. I think also there are good defense that they come to every game ready to play hard, and they come out and they play extremely hard and fired up. They can't kind of sustain it. And whether it's a lack of depth or, as you say, it can't, offense is not helping them or whatever else you want to point to. I thought that they played pretty good the other day. They did affect Chambliss kid in the throwing game. I didn't think it was a typical Lane Kiffin outing as far as the throwing game, but the rushing game just decimated with 258 yards. And although Chambliss didn't have a great day in the throwing game, hell, he ran for 59. So they just did not do a good job in all phases of the passing game, from pass pressure to, in the rushing game, from, stop Keywan Lacey ran crazy. And then Chambliss, he got affected. Even a couple of receivers had explosive runs. So maybe they were so concerned about the passing game, they ran some calls that they were really focusing on doubling wideouts or doing some different things and lost a little bit of help in the box. It's hard to say. Again, I got to blame this one on YouTube and Disney. I hope you're not affiliated with Disney, Phil.
No, we're not affiliated with Disney. I can promise you we're not affiliated with Disney. No, sir.
Thank you.
But I would have invited you over to my place had I known you were having these issues. Oh, of course, you're up there. You could. Why didn't you go over to Danny Ford's house and watch the games?
Hey, I had 5 different people tell me what to do. One of them told me to get Hulu. One of them told me to get this. One of them told me, I said, dude, I got YouTube TV set up by my son. I don't even know what streaming means. Everybody's got an answer for you, but nobody's there to help you.
Well, I mean, the SEC commissioner was steering everybody to the ESPN app. I know you don't know how to do an app, but he's just trying.
Yeah, I got the app. I got the ESPN app. Son put that on there too. But you get one game at a time. Yeah. I saw Texas and Vandy, and then I saw. I don't know who the other was. It was a good game. I didn't mind watching it, but I'm listening to Carolina or Clemson on the radio. And you ought to see this radio I got, Phil. It looks like something you used to take to the beach when you were 20 years old.
Hey, I just want to thank you, Ellis, for cussing just one time. That was good. That's a good start.
I did not cuss.
Well, you did drop the D word early. And Chuck, thank you for being with us as well. Guys, thank you as always. We'll catch you next week, and we'll be back.
Point weather on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Another clear and cool evening with a low temperature dropping to 48. Tomorrow we are beautiful yet again. Sunshine all day long, the high is 73. We will stay nice on Friday, 74 the high. For the weekend, look for a blend of sun and clouds. The high temperatures in the middle 70s and a 20% chance we get some afternoon rain. By the way, much cooler next week. Highs in the 50s and 60s. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Hey y'all, my name's Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. With the holidays approaching, people are looking for places to hold large parties. Flight Deck Restaurant has what you need. We have 4 different rooms that can accommodate groups from 12 all the way to 120 people. As long as you eat dinner with us, Flight Deck does not charge a rental fee for the room. Flight Deck Restaurant can accommodate wedding receptions, rehearsal dinners, Christmas parties, birthday parties, anniversary parties, civic organizations that need to have a regular place to meet. Flight Deck Restaurant is a full-service restaurant and we can provide audio-visual equipment. Please consider Flight Deck Restaurant in Lexington. Thanks y'all and God bless.
The Point.
Crash of With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Within hours of Zohran Mamdani's election as New York's first Muslim mayor, there were swift and harsh reactions from his Jewish critics. Notably, the Anti-Defamation League, which combats anti-Semitism, launched an initiative to track policies and personnel appointments of the incoming administration. The ADL said its goal was to protect Jewish residents during what it called a period of unprecedented anti-Semitism in New York City. Federal investigators say a UPS cargo plane's left wing caught fire and its engine fell off just before a fireball crash after takeoff in Kentucky. The crash and fire Tuesday destroyed the plane and spread to nearby businesses in Louisville. Authorities say at least 12 people died and others are missing. More details at srnnews.com.
Hi, I'm Tazima. Join me every Saturday at 11 a.m. for Small Business Saturday. We'll celebrate business owners in our community while learning their stories of success and failure. It's Small Business Saturday right here at 100.7 The Point.
I don't know too many folks out there who love paying taxes, but what about getting tax credits? That's appealing, right? My buddy Ken at Broker Solar is in the tax credit business. How would you like a solar battery that helps do 2 things? First, it serves as an instant generator the moment the power cuts out, and it doesn't even require gasoline. Secondly, it lets you take some control back from the power companies. Yeah, you can use solar power during the peak hours when your power company wants to charge you the most. Oh, and that tax credit on solar batteries, you can get a 30% tax credit right now. This is a phenomenal time to reach out to Ken. He'll come out to your home or your business. He'll give you a comprehensive free estimate, answer any questions. Solar isn't free, but you need to take advantage of those credits when they do come around. Call Ken right now. Save on a solar-powered battery. Online, find him at brokersolar.com or just call Ken, 807-7417. That's 807-7417. Broker Solar.
Discover the seamless blend of comfort and style with Lexington Discount Homes. With over 30 years of excellence in the housing industry, our focus is on delivering your dream home with unparalleled customer service. Explore a variety of designs tailored to meet any preference and budget. Drop by our showroom at 1847 Augusta Highway to witness the craftsmanship of a Lexington home firsthand, or explore online through a comprehensive virtual tour at lexingtondiscounthomes.com. Choose comfort, choose style, choose Lexington Discount Homes.
This fall, discover a place where friendly faces greet you at the door. McCoy's Hardware of Lexington. Greg Lynette and their welcoming team make every visit a breeze with expert advice and genuine hometown care. No more endless aisles or big box blues, just quality products and people who want to know your name. For every project, big or small, find what you need and a neighborly smile at 2028 Augusta Highway. Shop local. Shop happy. McCoy's Hardware of Lexington.
Want to hear my success story? I'm Fran Halloran, the money coach. I'm celebrating a decade of partnering with The Point. It's one of the best decisions I ever made. I've used The Point to significantly grow my small business. It started with a meeting with Kevin Cohen. Do you own a small business? Are you on a limited budget? No problem. Reach out to Kev at 563-8558. Get a customized plan and start your journey to business growth with The Point today. Success is one call away. Take the leap.
Hello, this is Stacy Huff, host of Huff Nation Sports Zone, each and every Saturday, 10 to 11 a.m. right here on 100.7 FM, The Point, and also 1470 a.m. It'll be a fun trip around the world of sports. Huff Nation Sports Zone, check it out.
This is Perry Orth, former South Carolina quarterback. On the field, my job was simple. Read the defense, protect the ball, and give my team the best chance to win. Off the field, at Moultrie Insurance, our job is no different. Help protect your business from the risks that you don't see coming, so you can focus on moving the ball forward. Just like a good quarterback, we anticipate challenges, call the right plays, and keep you protected. Trust Moultrie Insurance to cover your blind side and keep your business in the game. Visit MoultrieINS.com today.
Shop for the holidays smarter this year with Founders Federal Credit Union. Now through December 31st, take advantage of 5.99% APR on select purchases made with your Founders credit card. Spread more holiday cheer this year without breaking your budget. Visit foundersfcu.com/cc for more information. Membership qualification required. Promotional rate ends July 1st, 2026. Effective APR of 13.00 to 17.90% will apply. See website for details.
It's SC Wild with Major Billy Downer from the Department of Natural Resources. Major Downer is here to answer your questions about the great outdoors. Call in now at 888-898-2525 and join SC Wild on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, time for our first meeting with Major Billy Downer here in the month of November. Another edition of SC Wild from the Department of Natural Resources here in the state of South Carolina. Major, welcome in. Hope you are doing well. The beautiful weather outside in South Carolina. Everybody should still be getting out. My first question for you, by the way, the Major is by himself tonight, so if you have a comment or a question, or you're mad about something with DNR, or you're happy about something with DNR, maybe you've met
thanks for that, Phil. You're mad about something. Maybe we got the Major for you.
Maybe you've met a ranger out in the field and you want to congratulate him and say what a great person that individual was. You can do that as well. Our phone number 888-898-2525, or you can text in your comment or question at 803-900-4847. My question is, it's great to have you with us, of course, and my question is, with the changing of the time last weekend, it gets darker earlier now, but the changing of the clock, does that change like the internal clock for the wildlife in any way around the state? Any impact, the fact that it goes darker earlier now?
No, it doesn't change anything as far as wildlife are concerned. It changes our hunting patterns because, as far as they're concerned, that it's done by the daylight. All wildlife moves by daylight, sun up, sundown, and moon phases. Particularly right now, what is more influential on deer hunting, and I can give you a perfect example. Last night, deer, when it's this, we got a full moon like we have now, deer tend to be more nocturnal, and they move more at night and feed more at night because one reason they got plenty of light. Moonlight brightens it up, and they can see really well because their eyes are designed for that better than ours are, and it just makes it easier. So, full moon nights, things like that, those deer move more at night. Makes it harder to hunt deer in the evening, particularly afternoons. Sometimes I feel like full moon phase, it's better to hunt a deer in midday, maybe morning than evening. That's just been my personal, what I've seen, observations. So, again, it gets harder right now. What's really hard for someone who's trying to go hunt in the morning now, because you've got to get up at 4 o'clock to go deer hunt. Because it's getting light at 6 o'clock now instead of 7. So you got to get in the stand a good bit earlier than that. So you're waking up really, really early to go morning hunt now. Afternoon gets hard for folks that work during the week, Monday through Friday, because it's dark by 6. And most people get off till 5. By the time they get home, they don't have time to get in the stand before it gets dark. So this time of year right now makes it really hard for folks to hunt in the afternoon during the week. So weekends become a big deal, which is where we get into people, we get into human conflict with different types of hunting, and folks get upset because their only day to hunt may be Saturday or Sunday. And when other people are doing that other types of hunting, you get into conflict sometimes there because this time of year things just get focused down into, the weekend's your time to hunt, and that's it, particularly when it comes to deer hunting. So, but right now, we are in that beginning of November. We're probably in what most folks around the Midlands would say we're beginning the rut now. We had the pre-rut going on, but it's going to be really cold next week on Monday. I think we're supposed to drop below freezing into the 20s.
Ew.
So we expect to see some deer movement improve as you get past this full moon week. I can't remember if it's waxing or waning. I always forget that. I think the waning moon after the full moon, as that full moon starts to go away, your deer movement will begin to go back to normal. So deer hunting will kind of come back to normal at that point. So that's kind of where we are as far as the deer season. We are in a good time for bucks right now. In the last week, seeing a lot of bucks, not a lot of does, and frankly, that's because, especially during the pre-rut, but right before the rut, the bucks are moving. They're going to these corn piles or feeding locations where they know the does are going to be looking for does, and the does don't want to come out because they're like, if we come out, there's going to be a buck running us around, and we just don't want to deal with that today.
Mm-hmm.
So you see a lot of young bucks, a lot of cow horns, what we say, or 4 points, 6 points, and they're out there, and they've got those little juices flowing, and they're wanting to run around every female they see. So that's kind of what happens in the pre-rut. The bucks are ready, the does aren't. As we run into the rut, your does that come in season will be ready for breeding, and they will be more calm and won't be running around quite so bad. And your bigger bucks will hold the does this time of year, and that's when you catch a big buck slipping, and you can catch one slipping up. He's following that doe, he's paying attention to the doe, he's not paying his attention to his surroundings like he used to. He's focused on that doe. He will sit with her. A buck that's with a doe may stay with her a day or two or more, just following her around. He'll bed wherever she goes down. He's going to follow her to feeding areas, to watering areas, back to the bed again. He's going to stick with her. And that's just part of the natural process. And that's when you can catch a buck out of his normal realm and all of his normal mindset. That's what the rut's about, and that's where folks really take advantage of the rut for taking a large buck in South Carolina. And that's kind of where we are right now.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on where you are in the state. It just, the rut is varying, but right now where we are, I'd say we're probably in the rut right now in the Midlands, and this cold weather is really going to push it forward and make things kind of heat up a little bit as far as the rut goes.
All right.
But that's deer season.
Now, and sticking with that for a moment, you mentioned the fact that folks are getting up in the dark, getting up earlier if they want to go hunting in the morning,
right.
And it's dark, and they're getting to their stands in the dark. And why don't we talk about some of those safety measures that you've suggested in the past? Because one of the things, besides, of course, an accidental shooting, is that folks get hurt getting out of their stands. And you've talked in the past about some of the safety measures to take to avoid something like that.
Absolutely. So, just this past weekend, putting somebody out of a stand they were unfamiliar with, and showed them in the daytime where it was, and they're walking into this in the woods, and the woods are very dark in the morning, and it can get hard. And they ended up, we're in the age of the cell phone.
Yeah.
They called me, said, hey, I can't find this stand. I'm like, I said, are you on the path? Yes. I said, take your flashlight, shine around back behind you. You're probably too far.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, so most people want to go to a deer stand, particularly really good deer hunters. They don't use flashlights. They're trying to walk in there by memory. They don't want to show where they are to the deer. And that's completely understandable, particularly in the woods. When you're in a deer's area, you want to make sure that you're going in as quietly and and leaving the area as undisturbed as possible, so that you just basically become a part of that tree you're in, and nobody knows you're there, right?
Mm-hmm.
That deer doesn't know you're there. But oftentimes you can get lost. People get lost trying to get to their stand particularly if they're visiting somewhere and don't know the area very well. Flashlights are important. Don't be afraid to use the flashlight to find the stand. Safety-wise, and you remember us pushing this, and this is where you're going with this, is in the last few years we've done be safe, be seen. Use the flashlight, going to the stand in the early morning and leaving the stand in the late evening when it's dark. Use your flashlight so other hunters don't mistake you for a deer. Should they? Absolutely not. No hunter should ever mistake you for a deer.
Mm-hmm.
But in low-light situations, folks could be, the adrenaline starts flowing, they see movement in the dark, and they make a bad decision. Using that flashlight, deer don't carry flashlights. It makes it very obvious you're a person walking through the woods. And that's just something we've we've kind of in the last few years really pushed is be safe, be seen, don't be afraid to wear, wearing hunter orange during the daytime is great. At night, using a flashlight or in low light conditions, using a flashlight going to and from the stand is important for other hunters to know where you are. Is it worth missing that one deer that one time? Yes, it's worth that to be alive the next day. So it's certainly, as we understand, trying to slip into the woods to your stand. Sometimes you need to use a flashlight. It's okay. Particularly when you're leaving the woods, though, and you want to walk out of the woods and not bother a deer, that's one thing, but you want to make sure that when you get into a field where other hunters could be, or if you're hunting on a club area where other hunters are present, always use that flashlight so they know where you are. And that brings up a whole other discussion. Let people know where you're going. In clubs and where there are lots of people hunting the same area, you want to make sure you have a sign-in board or something where other folks can look and check. Check the sign-in board. Know where everybody's at. Know your stand locations so you know where people are. That's important in any club. And so often people don't have these kind of boards and they don't have these locations marked for the stands, and people are just willy-nilly walk through the woods to the stand, and that's when accidents happen, and we don't want to see that happen. So, do what you can as part of your club if you're a group of people hunting to let people know where the stands are. I've been blessed to hunt with a lot of good people, hunt with officers, and we all know the game because we've been doing it. We've worked our lives and our career protecting others. I hunt with some retirees. And we go to a stand, we look at it differently. We're like, okay, if the stand's here, I can shoot this way and this way, right? Yep. Are we good to hunt that way? Yes. It's questions that we know to ask because for our career, 28 years for me, I've been doing that. I've been talking to people, responding to accidents, what went wrong. So it's kind of in our mind to know, hey, when we go hunting, we just don't sit in a stand. We're thinking safety zones. Where can I shoot safely? What's happened? When I'm climbing up the stand, do I need to have a rope to pull the gun up? Yes. Don't carry it on your back. Use a rope to pull that gun up to the stand with the barrel down. Those are the kind of things we think about because we've been around it. We've seen everything that could happen, can and will happen, and so we're trying to be safe. So all those things come into effect. Tree stand safety. We get in the stand, we're checking it, we're shaking it before we get in it because we've seen too many tree stands fall. It's second nature, and I want every hunter in South Carolina to be thinking about those things before they go hunting to make sure that when they leave that hunt, they go home safely to their family and they can go out again and enjoy another hunt because that's the joy of it, is going back out again.
Absolutely.
You don't want to have something happen to you that could have been prevented by simply checking a stand, checking straps to make sure that stand's against the tree, knowing your safe zones of fire, knowing where other people are hunting around you so that accidents don't happen. Because truly those can be life-altering experiences and life-ending. So that's just kind of where I am on that. But a good comment of yours to say that about the light. One more thing I will mention, too, because this came up in the last week. I had somebody hunting with me, and they saw a bobcat. And they'd never seen a bobcat in the woods before, which was a whole different experience for them. So they were taking pictures of their phone, sending it to me, and the next text I get is, "It's getting closer." I'm like, I'm like, okay. He's like, no, really, it's getting closer. Then he called me. He said, what do I do? Can I shoot this thing? I said, no, you cannot shoot it. The bobcat's not going to hurt you. It's not coming after you. You're up in the stand. I said, now, if it crawls up in the stand coming after you, yes, you may shoot it. I gave him that little liberal use there because I knew it wasn't going to climb up in the stand after him. But folks who have not, when you're out there deer hunting, you get to see so many cool things that are just part of the natural environment. Things happen. And a bobcat comes out of the woods and they don't really know you're there. You're downwind from them, not upwind. The wind's the right way. They don't smell you because they've got a tremendous sense of smell. But you get to watch that animal in its natural environment, not in a cage, not in a zoo. And it's really cool to watch how they move and how they can disappear so quickly. It's just really amazing to me how God gave animals black, white, and brown shades that just completely hide you. And here we are out here with all this technical camouflage we've built, mossy oak, everything, break up, real tree, extra gray, all the different things you can think of. And God gave these animals skin and hide and white of all things that allows them to hide. and it's just so cool. But yeah, it reminded me though with on Bobcats. So used to be when I started as a game warden, there were two laws in the state. One that said there's a fur bear season that started in November 27th, basically, by Thanksgiving Day. And then there was another law in the books that said landowners could shoot a bobcat at any time. Well, in the last few years, I'd forgotten we'd removed that law where sometimes these laws, there's two laws in the book, and they contradict each other. So the law had been changed, and now bobcat season does not begin until November 27th this year. So I reminded my young friend, I said, no, do not shoot that bobcat. Leave him alone. It's fine. A lot of quail, older men, bobcats, that law about shooting bobcats on sight on your land came from the days in South Carolina where quail was king, and everybody wanted to protect the songbird of the South, the quail, the bobwhite quail. And, of course, a bobcat, that's part of their supper. They like to eat bobwhite quail. So farmers, quail men, they want to get rid of bobcats at all costs. But that law is now gone. You can take bobcat from November 27th through March 1st, but not yet. So if you see a bobcat out there deer hunting right now, leave it alone. Watch it and enjoy the show. That's kind of one more little tidbit's happened to me in the last week.
Yeah. It's SC Wild Major Billy Downer. Phone number 888-898-2525. You have a direct question or text us at 803-900-4847. So how has the hunting season been from a safety standpoint around the state as far as what you've heard reports around the state to this point?
So far, we still have some incidents that happen, but I haven't heard of I don't know exactly where we are on our hunting accident count. I'll check on that next show. I'll give a report on that, Phil. But I don't know that we have had. I don't know if we've had a fatality that was hunting related at this point. But I'll verify that for the next show. But that's good news for us. We always have the tree stand accidents that occur where people fall out of tree stands, and again, people won't believe the things that happen in tree stands and the simple things to prevent them. So often, they're not fatalities, but they break their legs. People have broken their necks and been paralyzed the rest of their life trying to deer hunt, and it's just easy to check those things. Like I was saying before, on tree stands, the most common problem for someone is when they're transitioning in and out of the stand, not when they're sitting in the stand, but transitioning, climbing up, climbing down. It's when they fall. You slip, you miss a rung on the ladder, and you fall. The easiest way to prevent that is to wear a tree stand safety harness. So many companies have come out with those. So they're out there. You can go to your local Ace Hardware and get. Muddy makes a great one. There's so many of them out there, though. Hunter Safety Systems has been in the market for a long time, but they're great at using the rope that goes from the bottom of the stand to the top of the stand above you in the tree. You use a prusik knot. We've talked about that before. It's a climbing knot. It allows you to slip as you push up the stand. But if you fall, that weight will pull against that prusik knot and it locks in place, and it won't allow you to slide down the rope. And it simply keeps you safe from the moment you step off the ground to the moment you step in the stand until you return to the ground. So it's a great function. That prusik knot and the tree stand safety harnesses are great. People will wear a tree stand safety harness when they get up in the stand, but when they're climbing up and down, they won't attach it to anything, and that's when most accidents happen. The other thing that we see happen is people don't check stands before the season. I've talked about it so many times. Straps, squirrels will bite it, eat it, chew on it, on your nylon straps in the back of a tree. Sun will bleach it, and they'll pop over the years. And people just think a stand's supposed to be there from the time you put it there till the time you die. And that's not the case. Those straps will break, they'll break down, and the stand will let loose. And if it doesn't come to the ground, it will turn enough to dump you out and cause significant injury. So check your tree stands. Always, I get to a stand, first thing, I kind of check it, shake it left to right, grab the ladder and check it. As I'm climbing up, I'm just always keeping what we call, try to keep 3 points of contact. That's 2 hands and 1 foot as you're climbing. And you can't do that if you're holding the rifle in one hand and trying to climb with one hand. You can't keep 3 points of contact. It's just hard. So it's best to take that rifle or shotgun or a bow or a crossbow and bring it into the stand with a rope after you're safely seated in the stand. So many people have climbed a stand with a rifle on their back and they've fallen out of the stand. They hit the ground. Well, guess what? That rifle's made of metal, steel. It doesn't break, but your back does. And actually having a rifle on your back can cause you to break your back if you hit the ground. So just things to think about that just people, they just forget. They get excited about the hunt and forget about those safety tips. But making sure your stand is secure, is attached to a good tree. And here's another one. This has happened to me in the last 2 years. I've been watching a tree that a stand's been on for 2 years slowly die, and then the top of the tree fell in front of the stand. I believe the stand's kind of holding the tree up now. Is it safe to get in that stand? Probably not. It's time to do something different to secure that stand. So if you've got stands out there and lightning hits the tree it's in and that tree begins to die, it's time to move that stand. So it's something I'm thinking about right now. I've got to deal with it just like you all do out there that are listening. Make sure your stands are in a safe location. You know, stand construction's changed so much. Everybody used to put 2x4s together and make a ladder with some nails and nail it to the tree, and eventually the tree would grow and pull this tree stand out, and people would fall out that way. Most people are using manufacturer stands or some that folks make, good welders make. You got to make sure if you're using somebody's homemade stand that they know how to weld, that the welds are good, and that you're in a stand that's structurally sound. So the Tree Stand Manufacturers Association certifies all the stands you buy at Walmart, your Ace Hardwares, or any of your Sportsman Warehouse, anywhere else. Those are certified by TMA. Look on that box for that. If you're buying something from a local person building a stand, it doesn't mean it can't be safe, but you need to know the quality of their workmanship because you're putting your life in their hands when you climb in that stand. And that's just something to think about. So I know some folks locally here that make stands, and they do an excellent job. They're solid, do a great job. Can you still make a stand safe? Absolutely. You can make a stand using 4x4s yourself. Get the kits. Go buy those legs, the big metal leg pieces from Cabela's online or off of Amazon for $50, $60, $100, whatever they cost. They kind of up and down. But I've got a stand like that made out of 2x6s and 4x4s, and it's as solid as a rock using good screws, and it doesn't move. But wood over time, remember that statement I said, stands don't last forever. Wood over time will rot, even treated wood, because today's treated wood is not yesterday's treated wood. In 10 years, you better check that wood. You may have to replace it, and you may have to be willing to take the stand down and build a new one. That's just how it is. But it's okay. Again, it's about hunting for the rest of your life and going out there again. So we're kind of taking a little walk down the tree stand safety lane here for a minute. But before we leave tonight, just remind folks, we are in a good time for deer season. It's going to get cold in the next week. Between now and the next show, we're going to have some freezing temperatures. If you're in the Midlands or the upstate, it's going to be good. Our deer season's open across the state now. A good time to be deer hunting in the woods. Get out of this full moon. Deer are going to get active. We're probably seeing the rut around here right now. I wouldn't doubt you're going to see that in your area as well. So get in the stand if you haven't already. Go enjoy a nice, beautiful sunset. Hopefully you can get out there early enough before, get off work early and get out there during the week too and enjoy as many times and many sunsets as we can. Because it is a beautiful painting every evening when I sit in the deer stand.
Ain't no doubt. Major, as always, a pleasure. Great stuff tonight. You have yourself a couple of good weeks away from us, and we'll talk to you later on this month.
Yes, sir. Thanks, sir.
And be safe out there, Major. Thank you. Okay, there you go. Major Billy Downer, the best of all. Well, he'll be embarrassed for me to say this. The best of all over at DNR. And we love him here on Sports Talk. Hope you enjoyed hearing what he had to say. I hope you took it to heart. I know a lot of you who listen to us, you are hunters. And so enjoy the hunt and make sure you do the right thing so you can hunt again. That's what he is saying. And that's going to do it for Sports Talk on this Wednesday night. We've enjoyed it. Thanks for being with us. Thank you, Plummer. That's all we got. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.
WQXO